Now, I work in IT every day, and I realized something pretty early on. I've been spending years and years just working on different kinds of environments and people's network without properly building nothing of my own, anything that I could really control, play with, and kind of learn from. I decided to change that by getting this here, Protectli, a switch, and building out my own personal home lab. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm still learning as I go, more of that advanced networking. But for now, I just wanted to build something that is mine and I can showcase to you guys with mistakes and everything all included. But this is something I wanted to do for a very, very long time. And it's probably the case for you too. So if it's something you'd like to watch, enjoy watching, or want to do for yourself, just stay tuned. Quick rundown of the hardware I am using, which is the Protectli Firewall appliance, and I'm also using an Aruba Instant On 1930 switch. And from here, what we want to do is head over to the OPNsense website. You'll find the fast download selector. Make sure to select the system architecture, the same image type, and the mirror location. It'll download right into a zip folder. You can extract that folder, make sure it's extracted first, then insert that USB drive into your computer, make the same selections as I have on my Rufus prompt window. And if you don't have Rufus, I will also include a link down below in the description in order for you to download that too. It'll be important. It's a very useful tool to have. And as you can see, I'm just adding the disk here, selecting the USB drive, making sure everything else is set as default. You can start that. It'll take a few minutes and you'll have your bootable drive. And once you insert it right into the Protectli, it is powered on, you boot up the system, you'll get the chance to select or press the F11 option. From here, you can select your USB drive. And once you boot into your USB drive, you'll see this OPNsense kind of menu. It'll boot up for a few minutes or so, and you will be using the installer login. This is in order to make sure you install OPNsense correctly. Mind, and I'm looking to reset it just to take you guys through the setup process. So from here, you'll see the key map selection. You'll just go with the default key map selection. And here, let's go through with the ZFS option. It's just the easiest way to install it. And you might not see the screen only because you didn't previously install this, but I did. So it's something that I'll have to go through here. We'll just click OK. And we'll click the stripe. We don't need to set up any of this at the moment. I only have one drive, so this is not really necessary. And here you just have to make sure to select your drive. So it'll do it with the little asterisk. And you can click OK. And this will destroy whatever is on that drive. If you're like me, then you have nothing on that drive. It's a new drive. I installed it on the Protectli. Also, just a warning, these devices usually come with no drive, so I would make sure to confirm before you buy it that they do or don't have a drive, just to make sure that you can get one if it doesn't have one. We'll go ahead and click yes here. It'll take its time. It'll do its thing. It'll clone the current system, blah, blah, blah. It's just going through that whole installation process. I originally tried installing with UFS, but after running into a few issues, I just switched over to ZFS, and it really resulted in being a lot easier to do so, honestly. One thing that immediately confused me was kind of identifying which physical port mapped to each interface inside OPNsense. But eventually I figured it out. The LAN and WAN assignments, and I got the firewall booted properly into the web interface. So you can see here, I'm clicking 1 to assign interfaces, just no for those. And from here, I'm just naming them to the following, which is just IGC 1 for the LAN, IGC 0 for the WAN port. Now you can see here that we have both of the ports kind of summarized. We have the WAN at C1, and we have the LAN port at C0. Type in Y and enter, and that'll just allow you to proceed and finish applying the changes or assignments that you made to the ports. Port 1 on the Protectli appliance will be what you identify as the LAN port, which is C0. And as you can see here, I'm connected to the laptop. I connected that cable to my laptop. Here I am just setting up the IP address in order for me to connect to the Protectli web portal. So a mistake that you probably would like to avoid is leaving your Wi-Fi or Ethernet adapter. You want to make sure that you are not connected to any active network connections, no Wi-Fi, no pre-installed network adapter, whatever it is, right? And set up an IP address, a private IP like I just did, which is the 0.1, 0.10. If you do use the 0.1.1, that can be, conflicting with your ISP router. And you can see here, this is something that I ran into. I typed in the default IP address for my ISP router, and it takes me back to my Verizon. So what you want to do is make sure you disconnect the Wi-Fi, disconnect your Ethernet, plug in that port 1 cable from the Protectli into your laptop, and then you should be able to get access to the OPNsense web portal from there. I changed the default IP address pretty early just to make sure it doesn't conflict with the Verizon router addressing. And I did that by going to the interfaces section, then clicking into the LAN, scrolling down here. And once we're there, we can just change it to anything that is within an acceptable private IP address. I just added the 0.50.1. You could do the same if you like. Once you make that change, just make sure to click the save button, then apply changes. Once you apply changes, you will lose access to the web portal. You would just have to update that IP address within the network adapter portion of it. And once you do that, you should be able to get access or regain access to the web portal. As you can see, I go through that same process here. You can't reach a site. So what I do is I go back into the Ethernet properties. I go ahead and change or update that IP address to .50.10, and I make sure the default gateway is also updated. Click OK, click yes here, and make sure to save that setting change. Just give it a minute or two, and once you do that, you should be able to refresh the page. Your connection is not private. You receive that prompt. You go ahead and proceed through the IP address, sign in with your root username and OPNsense password. You can see here that you now have access, you restored access to your OPNsense firewall. Now that the firewall is accessible and we confirmed that, I connected the Aruba switch so that the LAN side of the network could actually start functioning like a proper setup instead of just having, that direct laptop connection. What you can see here is me just disconnecting that connection from the Protectli port 1 over to the laptop connection. Next step is to connect the Protectli port 1 over to the Aruba switch port 1 connection. And from here, you should be able to plug right into that switch and go on to that web portal using that LAN IP address we set earlier. So you can see here is me just plugging into my laptop and plugging right back into that Aruba switch. The last connection we'll be making is the WAN port 2 on the Protectli. This will be going to your ISP LAN port. So let's go ahead and get that plugged in. You see here on my Verizon router in the LAN port 1, I go ahead and connect that cable. Then we can go ahead and take a look at our Protectli, and you can see that the port is now active. Now back to the web portal, we can see here in the reporting traffic that both the WAN and the LAN have some activity, and you can tell by the graph itself. So what I did make a mistake in the beginning. I did notice that when I switched over to DHCP within that Ethernet properties page on my laptop, I immediately got hit with a 169 address, and I got a little desperate. Instead of waiting around and letting the settings propagate, probably should have known better, but I didn't. And what I did notice when I went back and just let it sit for a little bit, I was able to see that both the LAN and the WAN ports were both up, active, and ready to go. So this pretty much concludes the setup. It's just a beginner setup. I do plan to do a lot more, and a lot more will be coming soon. Okay, so we have the firewall finally online, the HCP finally working. We have internet flowing through the lab. Honestly, this feels like the first time that it feels like a real, actual setup. Now I get it. Right now, it's just a very basic, bare bones setup. The foundation is there, but in the next few videos, I'll be developing our VLANs, our network ad blockers, and all that cool stuff. And if you're also into networking or just want to level up your IT skills along with me as I go through it in real time, then you'll probably enjoy the series. I appreciate you watching, and I'll catch you on the next one.